This is my first live. I'm trying to figure out how to do the camera. Maybe just get it a little farther away. I am going to talk about gaslighting. That is something that I feel, sorry, it's weird. Like, you don't really know what you look like until you go on camera. um, so gaslighting. It is a form of psychological abuse aimed at making the victim feel crazy. A lot of times, if you're being gaslit, you might feel confused. You just have a sense of confusion. One thing that I found out is that people that have ADHD are actually more susceptible to gaslighting. I have ADHD confirmed by a neuropsych eval. So that was interesting to find that out. Also, people that have ASPD and have NPD, if you Google gaslighting, those personality disorders gaslight the most. They've done studies on this. So I experience gaslighting constantly. It was the mode of communication. If there was anything that felt, confrontive, like if I was bringing something up about his behavior or something that he was saying or whatever, I was gaslit every single time. There was never a time where I expressed anything like that, where I wasn't gaslit. There's different ways that people can gaslight you. A big one that is telling somebody they're crazy. So, like, immediately, they're just told they're crazy. So they're being told, number one, that what they have to say, the person doesn't care about. And then they say something as damaging to them as you're crazy. Okay. Yeah, it's not good. They can say things like, well, that's not what happened. That's not what I did. That's not what I said. You're remembering it. You're remembering it wrong. They're denying your reality. So already, the picture is becoming clear that you're not able to have like real intimacy with somebody who's gaslighting you. It's not possible because part of intimacy is sharing those things that, sometimes your partner doesn't realize maybe that something bothers you or that you're being affected by something. And so it's normal in a relationship to want to bring that to your partner's attention. They say they love you, they say they care about you. So you think, oh, well, they want to know if they're doing something that is hurtful to me. Not if you're with somebody who gaslights you. They're not interested in how their behavior affects you. That's not the deal. So with the you're crazy gaslight, sometimes they can say that you have a mental disorder, or if you have a mental disorder, like a documented mental disorder, they can use that as well. And I experienced that. I have ADHD, and so that was used against me as well. They can attack your self-esteem in many ways, one of the ways they can do this is they can say, well, this is why you don't have any friends. I heard that one as well. And that one was like, I don't know, you're crazy. That's not what happened. That was a little weird, that was weird and uncomfortable. But you have no friends. This is why you have no friends. That was like something that I would have heard or something when I was in second grade from somebody on the playground, get into a fight and they're like, you have no friends. It kind of felt like that, just super, super immature. They can just say straight away that this is all your fault. They can do something immoral, something extremely damaging, and then they can just turn around and say, well, this is your fault. This is why I did this. So on top of being devalued, you're now blamed on top of the devaluing. That's why with a lot of gaslighting, it can leave you feeling shame. Like you can end up just feeling bad, like you already feel bad, and then you go to them and then you end up feeling worse. And so there's a lot of shame that can go along with being gaslit. It's really, really, really sad. They can say things like, I just don't know why you keep bringing this up. A lot of times, if you keep bringing something up, it's because you've had no resolution. That's really the reason why you keep bringing it up, because there's been no resolution. So that's why it's being brought up again. They can say things like, you're too sensitive. They can say straight away, I really don't care. I don't care how you think or how you feel. That happened a couple of times. So yeah, it's just crazy. That's not what I meant. They can shift the intent and say, I was just joking. They can say something hurtful. They can, put you down in some kind of way and then say, well, that's not what I meant. It was a joke. It's not that big of a deal. That's another gaslight phrase. You're too sensitive. You're paranoid. I heard that one. And then you're just overthinking it. When you're sharing a legitimate concern. Basically, one of the main goals of gaslighting is to get you to doubt your reality. And what ends up happening is that if you're gaslit at a high octane level, you subconsciously start believing these things. It's not conscious, but subconsciously, a person can start believing these things about them. This one, I heard this one a long time ago, and I knew when the person said it to me, and it was something over, like something immoral. I knew when they said it to me that this was not okay. And I never had anything to do with this person after this. But they were like, I just don't know what you want me to say. So it absolves them of the responsibility of giving a human response. The problem is now about this, not about the subject at hand. Well, now it's a game of ping pong. Yeah, I've never liked that. I don't know what you want me to say. It's lame. They can say like, everyone agrees with me. You're wrong. I'm right. And the goal there is to make you feel like you have the problem. Or how about this one? How dare you accuse me of that? Right? And you can even have proof that that's what they've said or they've done something, and they can say, how dare you accuse me of that? Like, you're already hurt at the possibility of what you know. Well, you're hurt. You're making yourself vulnerable by even bringing it up, and then they turn around and say, well, now there's something wrong with you. You're now somebody who would do something like that. How dare you accuse me of that? Another one is, you always blow things out of proportion. Right? Right? And gaslighting causes long-term effects on people, depending how long you deal with the person that's doing this to you, whether they're an intimate partner or a close person, like maybe someone in your family. There's long-term effects. It can lead to a lot of self-doubt, and that means in every area of someone's life. It can actually cause more codependency, because the boundary dissolving that happens when someone is telling you things like you're crazy, you're paranoid, you start doubting on a deep subconscious level your own ability to discern what's real, what's reality. It can give a person a lot of anxiety. I had like a lot more fear going on about different things. Definitely a lot more anxiety. It affected my sleep in a major way. Like, my sleep has really struggled, or really been a struggle. And it can lead to paranoia. Yeah. Depression. It definitely caused me a lot of depression, to the point where I'd only eat like once a day. Just didn't even have an appetite from depression. It leads to social isolation. Basically, the person starts relying on the person who's gaslighting them to define reality. Like, that is insane to me. Insane to me. So the person starts relying on the person that's gaslighting them to define reality. It's crazy. Can lead to low self-esteem, a lot of self-doubt, lack of confidence, difficulty making decisions because the person doesn't have faith in their ability to ascertain reality, begins to not value or think that they can rely on their perceptions. Like, that is intense. And they may internalize that they're not good enough. And all that is happening on a subconscious level, but then it starts being evident in the person's life. I found it becoming increasingly hard for me to make decisions that I needed to make, decisions that I should have made. And I won't get into all that right now, but it can cause a lot of confusion. It distorts reality and makes the victim unsure of their own thoughts. Over time, it makes it even harder for them to stand up for themselves. Sadly, gaslighting can lead to self-harm. It's horrible. people hurting that, just people hurting themselves. Also memory loss. Um, so if you've ever gone through a relationship where you have been gaslit, if you're struggling with, things like that, the best thing to do is to get a therapist and to work on those issues. It's a sort it's a sort of trauma, depending on how long you were exposed to it. And it's really cool to be able to know what what the effects are, because those are the kinds of things that you can deal with in therapy. Self-care, super important. I didn't take care of myself in many ways, and I'm starting to focus on self-care. Going to the doctor's appointments I need to go to, taking supplements. Also, another thing that's important is doing something that you enjoy doing. A lot of times when we go through things like this, we stop doing the things that we enjoy doing. And that was true for me for the most part. I play guitar, so I need to start doing that more. I need to write some songs. I need to, just do more of that. And I would say, like, especially if you're in a relationship where you're experiencing a lot of gaslighting, I would suggest that you call the domestic violence crisis line and just talk about it, and it's all confidential. Unless you report a crime, everything's confidential. It can be a really valuable resource. And watch YouTube videos on gaslighting. As far as dealing with gaslighting, Richard Grandin says, abandon all sincere communication with the terminally insincere. Sometimes the best thing to do is to not try to address something with somebody who's going to gaslight you. And I understand that that's not always feasible. Here comes a little goat or little kid four-wheeler. Theoretically, if you have to deal with someone that is just going to gaslight you, knowing that they're gaslighting you is helpful when you understand that this is what they're doing. Not engaging with them. But yeah, it's super hard. It's super hard because if you're going to be gaslit, I don't know, I just don't see the point. You could set boundaries, I guess, and say, well, if you're going to continue to gaslight me, then X, Y, and Z, something like that. But I really haven't researched a lot of techniques to deal with someone that's gaslighting you. But I'm sure there's a lot of stuff on YouTube about that. So yeah, just a lot of self-care, getting a therapist, and yeah, and I experienced so much of it that just trips me out. Because if you're being gaslit a lot, you're getting the message repeatedly that you don't have any value. It's very, 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 very sad. It's very sad. So that is my episode on gaslighting, and I appreciate you watching, and I am going to hopefully just improve over time in how I present. I appreciate you coming to my channel, and if you haven't, hit subscribe, and I hope to bring you guys informative content on this healing journey, and I wish you the best in yours as well.